people that are in this band are such beautiful souls, just as people, and the hang's so great. And it's my personal dream team band.
Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Belgian Jasper. If this is your first time in the channel, hit subscribe right now.
Trev and Nic, thank you so much for spending some time here with me. Calling you from across the world. Usually I would be calling you from Toronto in Canada, but I'm in Europe right now. But thanks to technology, we're all here. Exciting times. We've seen some music of The Effect. But first and foremost, how are you guys doing?
Grooving, man.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Oh, my
stoked
pleasure.
to be here.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Now, Nic, first question to you. How much has it blown you away how good Trev is at maintaining eye contact with a camera and smiling while he's playing the guitar?
Oh, wow.
I am impressed. I think a lot of it's a weird thing. Like, I'm terrible. I'm like the opposite. Like, whenever we film videos, Trev has to like get me to like look at the camera a little bit. So I think it's great. I think there's a lot of I think the common theme for guitar players is take yourself really seriously and like, you know, like just look all kind of sick and everything, you know. But you know, it's a breath of fresh air. You know, Trev's a very smiley dude, and the thing I like is that it's the same person playing guitar as the same person that he is in real life. You know what I mean? There's no kind of disconnect. So that's just how he is, which is great.
Awesome. I
love you,
Nic. There you go.
I mean, I think guitar players. I mean, look at Eddy Van Halen, man. He couldn't stop smiling. I mean, I think that, you know, when you love what you do, it's easy to smile, and there's no, you know, it's like I said this the other day. It's like those pictures from the 1800s, man. No one smiled, right? Everyone had to be serious, and then eventually it moved to, hey, show some emotion and how much you're digging that experience. So, smiling's good, man. The world needs more smiles.
The world needs more smiles. Does the world of rock also just need some more color? Is that time?
I mean, maybe. I think so. I think it doesn't all need to be, you know, all black and stuff. Gloom. I don't know.
Yeah, I think rock has suffered a little bit from just being like almost pigeonholed into like what it's supposed to be. And back in the day, like it was, you know, pop, rock, you know, it was all the same thing really. It was just what was on the radio. And I think that's what this band does a little bit. And I mean, definitely with like the way I know Trev and Emmett like approach hooks and stuff like that, like it is kind of pop music. It just happens to be heavier and rock, you know what I mean? So I think definitely it's doing good for, you know, for the genre to just not be as, I don't know, what we've known it to be for the last 20 years or something.
Trev, quick question for you. You know, last time I saw an interview with you was when you said, like, well, due to whatever everybody that's a fan of you will know what happened in the last couple of years, I think the last thing that we heard from you is like, I'm never fucking doing another band anymore. I'm gonna be focused on solo. So, like, let's put you in the spotlight to give Nic some compliments now. What's so amazing about Nic that your mentality changed 180 degrees?
I mean, I think Nic was well aware when we first met, which actually was like we first met in person a year ago this month. And I think that, you know, I pretty much explained to him when I first sat down with him, man, we're just talking. I made it pretty clear that I had no interest in being in a band again. And, you know, I was doing my solo record and I had a lot of fun doing that, but I was mainly producing and writing for other people. That's how I was making a living. And, you know, the thought of being in a band again was not even a conversation until you meet the right people. And, you know, I think that the best way I explain it is it's like having a really bad ex-girlfriend, right? And but you can't just say I'm never going to date again because that's just closing yourself off, man. You know, like I think that if I was like that with my bad last relationship, I wouldn't be married right now with the love of my life. So it's like, you know, the people that are in this band are such beautiful souls, just as people, and the hang's so great. And and it's my personal dream team band. So it was just the universal line where we had this opening for all of us mentally and just time-wise able to do it. And we recorded Unwanted, and it was just one of those things where it's like, man, how can we not do this, you know? And after we hung out all together and played in the room together and did the video for Unwanted, it's like we became a band at that exact moment. And Nic, to me, is one of the most unique drummers. I mean, what a lot of drummers will just do, like, you know, what the typical song would need, but Nic his approach to arrangement is so different than anyone else that I've heard, that, you know, a song idea that comes from, you know, guitar or whatever, when we arrange it, Nic really takes the arrangement on his own in the beginning before we go through it. But I mean, every time I'm like, it's either that's exactly what I would do, or most of the time it's I would never do that, but I love it and let's keep it, you know? So this experience has been the exact opposite of my last, man. And I'm very happy and proud of myself that I at least put myself mentally in that position to be sitting here talking to you today and having a killer album that we just wrapped that couldn't be more proud of, you know?
If I understood correctly, the first two songs, or maybe the whole album, was that then you and Nicholas working together on that, and the other guys come in later, or was that just for the first few songs, and did the bulk of the album, you know, get established as more of a band process, if you will?
I mean, everything so far has been collective, really. It's just because we're so scattered across the country,
right?
We're never in the same room doing it. So usually, like, Unwanted was different because we've essentially worked the exact same way for every song except Unwanted.
Okay.
Unwanted was written. Well, Trev wrote it before the band was really, you know, he was sending the demo to be like, "Are you interested in this?" You know, I said on, I think an interview, was his business card. You know what I mean, to everybody,
which I love.
Yeah, what do you think of this? Because even when he asked me, and I knew, like what Trev said before, I knew he didn't really want to be in a band,
right? And
I knew we both wanted to work together in some way, and I assumed it would be like a session or something because Trev produces quite a bit, and I knew that was gonna, like, I thought that, you know, I knew we were gonna work together. And then when he pitched me the Unwanted track, I was away on tour with the Mechanics, so I was like, I'm definitely down. It's just gonna take me, you know, give me about a month until I'm done with this tour, or whatever it was, 3 weeks, and I'll go and lay it down. And by that point, everybody had done their parts, and there was like a MIDI drum thing that I kind of stayed true to. But then after that, it would be Trev just sending me the guitar idea, you know, and mapping out, okay, verse, chorus, you know, pre-chorus, bridge, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I would just do a demo and then FaceTime Trev. And then from there, we would do what's good, you know, say what we like, what we don't like. And then I'm essentially, apart from maybe, I don't know, 3 songs or something, I would track the song the day I wrote it. Trev was very like, you like pushed me to do that, which I loved. You know what I mean? I was like, It's so different to anything. Usually I'm the opposite. I sit with parts for almost months, you know what I mean, before I commit to laying them down in the studio. So this was like a fresh take. But once I'm done with it, like, I don't really hear the song. I hear Trev's guitar part and the idea, but then it goes to Steve, and then a lot of times I don't even hear it till they've done the vocals with M, you know what I mean? And then I'm like, oh, this is the song. You know, a lot of songs have become my favorites once they're done, and they weren't my favorite when I was recording them because I was like, oh, it's cool. And then I'm like, oh, what a great track this has turned out to be. So it's been a really interesting process, but it's been pretty easy. Like, I don't think it's been, you know, a struggle to write and record.
You know, the way we handle things too is just an approach I've always loved, and I love that the guys are with me on this. Is you know, you go into each song as like you're treating it as a single. Like, we're gonna sit here and we're gonna write the best tune we can write, or what's the point of recording it? And I think that we all put so much of our heart and soul into every song that it turns out to be so great, where we're all just kind of like cheering for each other, you know. And yeah, we always send Nic little vid clips in the studio when Emmett's here and we're tracking vocals and we're like, hey man, what do you think? And then like, you know, there's a lot of splooge emojis that happen, you know.
Awesome. So Trev, you've got a ton of it came up, you know, a couple of times that like you've got a ton of experience in, you know, writing for other people. And so whether those other people are members of a band you're in that have to now, you know, channel your idea, your music, lyrics, or completely other bands that you work with. For you, like, it's always cool to see how songs, you know, they never stop evolving in the meaning of the songs as well. Like somebody can write lyrics, the singer has to sing it. They have to give it their own truth, if you will, their own identity. People then see that singer sing those lyrics, identify not only the lyrics to the singer to that lyrics, but also themselves. And you know, a song means something different for everybody that listens to a song. For you, having worked in that way with so many different people, what's like a key learning that's been for you in that journey? Like how when you see, like, you know, you can come up with something, you can write a song, but people take it to this different area. I think you just mentioned, like, oh, when M's singing, all of a sudden there's a whole new dimension that opens up. What's that like for you as like the guy that starts this process?
I think I love to listen to songs as a listener, and I think that's what's so cool about this as well, because everyone brings so much to the table. And when I'm working with other artists, the same thing, they bring so much to the table. So, you know, you get to really be a part of the creative process, but as also a fan of music and rock, and you know, because I mainly do rock stuff, but like it's so great to be able to listen as well as a listener. If you're too caught up in everything and you're kind of coming up with everything, you forget, you don't know what's cool anymore. You don't know if it's great. You just oh man, I just don't know. But what's great about this band and most artists that I've worked with is that, you know, everyone's taking a little bit of everything from each other. So you get to listen as a listener. And mainly what I like to do with different artists, and I did this with Emmett as well, is getting to know them, getting to talk experiences. What is their, you know, life experiences? And Unwanted was exactly that with Emmett. When we talked on the phone, I mean, that's when I also knew Emmett was just such a beautiful soul too. It's like, you know, when we got on the phone for the first time, we talked for 3 hours on the phone, man. Like, I mean, it was just like, it just like when I sat with Nic and had dinner, it was an hours long dinner, just hanging out. I mean, time just flew by because the connection's there. And then when Emmett and I started writing the top line for Unwanted, it was like, well, tell me about, you know, growing up. Tell me about, you know, and he told me the story about a girl that he really had strong feelings for. And, you know, it never seemed to be the right time. And then when he finally put himself out there, he got denied. But then Emmett's a guy that's totally okay with being on his own. He loves meditating. He loves it. He's not searching for that too. And at the same time, like, that experience maybe kind of changed him a little bit because we talked about it, but like, he's completely content, man. And so that was kind of the twist. And that's kind of how Unwanted was built, was, you know, letting your walls come down and putting yourself out there and getting turned down. And, but at the same time, you don't mind it. Actually, you kind of enjoy it. It's a little bit of part of you. It's like, you know what? I'm totally happy being alone too. And, you know, we kind of made that, we just kind of created that story from that conversation. So that happened with M, but with every artist that I work with, I like to sit in the studio for probably 3 hours, you know, at least, and hang out and talk and get to know every person that I work with, because that's when song ideas pop up, and you take something from that and then you make it, you make the pain beautiful, man. You know, I think that's what music's all about.
I think the album, at the end of the day, it's like, you know, even like what Trev said, we end up listening to, or, you know, definitely I do, because I'm not, you know, Steve is also part of like doing the background vocals and stuff. I really just get it once it's done, and it's up to me to interpret however I'm gonna, you know, choose to. And even Steve, even with something wrong, like, I think Steve had a different interpretation to the lyrics as to the way Trev and M wrote them, you know. And which is pretty interesting. And I think that a lot of the record is, it's definitely got a sound, and I guess very common themes, but I don't think we were necessarily choosing to write about or one specific thing. I just think
it's not a concept album or anything.
Yeah, it seems very personal to different experiences that everybody's going through, and that's in the lyrics. It's not like we're not necessarily writing, at least to me, just about a random fairy tale story that we came up with. Like, it's just like, this is very much, this is what happened to Emma, and this is what happened to Trev, and this is what, you know what I mean? Like, it's very much that's the record.
Yeah.
Nick's so spot on, man. And yeah, even there's this fun song called High Life that's on the album that's like really tongue in cheek, like balls to the wall rock record. But like the lyrics are hysterical at the same time, because I went to this party on 4th of July, this very fabulous party, man, the A-list hang, and I just kind of tagged along with a buddy of mine, and seeing everyone in this party doing what they're doing. And for me, it's like, I grew up in the entertainment business. None of that phases me. Nick did as well. It doesn't phase you, those kind of things, but you kind of, in the new generation of things, it was kind of fun to watch. So I observed a lot, just like, having a few tastes and observing everyone's actions. And I said, you know what? I think this is going to be, because Emmett was staying at the house during that time we were recording. And I said, I think this could be a fun concept of a song of people that like, are living that other worldly life of like private jets, private parties, sex, drugs, maybe not rock and roll, but definitely like, sports and influencers and all that stuff, and it was really fun to create that song. So but I do know that every song on the record definitely has personal meaning behind it. If it involves one of us in the band.
I can only imagine how quickly in life you have to grow thicker skin than the average person, because whatever you do, especially in the entertainment business, is going to be, spotlight's going to be on it. There aren't many bands that a year after they start talking about forming a band, have showcases, have singles out, have people that want to interview them, people that want to listen to their stuff. There is going to be always that extra level of attention. How hard is it? Because you guys are talking about like, hey, it's very organic. We talked about it. We love some songs. We play with it. How is that at all? Like, do you proactively have to park this whole thing of like, and people are gonna have expectations, and labels are gonna want to look at what we're doing, and whatever and whatever? Is that something is that a mental exercise that you have to do to shut that off, or what's that like for you guys? Like, because I can imagine that it always is gonna add some level of pressure on creative process.
Yeah, I think sorry, go ahead, Trev.
No. You could go first, brother.
I was like, I don't know. I think it's a very unique situation, of course, and I think there's kind of two ways you can really. You're either gonna choose to see it negatively or choose to see it positively. We didn't have choice as to who we were born.
Right, exactly.
And I think the one thing that Trev and I really bonded on, even from when we first met to when we've just had our deep conversations, it's very similar and relate on a lot, which is nice because it's not always a given. It's not always a thing that people really understand, because we've had a very privileged life, a very lucky life, but there's also the attention, not just on our songs, but just life in general, the attention, the media, whatever that comes up. And I think being able to relate to Trev on that level was really important just in our friendship. And I think as far as like the band goes, we've never intentionally used that. We just happen to be in a band together, and I think it obviously you will have attention put on you. I mean, I know Trev has as well. And for me, like, I remember when I started playing drums with my dad on tour, like, of course you're going to get people who are like, oh, Phil Collins' son must be nice getting a gig if you're Phil's son, and that's totally a valid perspective to have at the beginning. And I think it's up to us to kind of prove them wrong. And to, and one thing I will say, like, the record sounds nothing. I mean, maybe you get bits and pieces, but it sounds nothing like either of our dads. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, of course.
Which is, which it wasn't necessarily intentional either. Like, I don't think we really think about how can we avoid that or how can we embrace that. It's just like, it is what it is. and we are who we are. Like, we've never had a conversation as to what kind of band we're going to be, what we're going to decide to do, but obviously we know that people are going to give it attention for that specific reason of us two being in a band together. And I think it's like, you just got to embrace it and be like, great, you know, that's more people that can listen to our stuff. But if at the end of the day, a thing that a lot of people don't understand when it comes to people like, you know, people like in Trevor I's position, is like, sure, maybe it gets people to listen to it, but if you suck, like, you suck, like, and it's actually probably worse, you know what I mean?
For sure, yeah.
And so, like, at the end of the day, like, you can only get so far using that. You actually do have to do a lot of the legwork, and everything so far has really, I mean, obviously we've been lucky to get mentions because of stuff that, you know, our past and our history and stuff, but I think everything we've done so far has been as organic as possible. Like, it's just been us four putting in the work, you know.
Right on, man. Yes, I really let go of that pressure years ago. It used to bother me a lot, but there was just a moment of a spiritual awakening, you could say, within me, that, you know, when you realize that, you know, everyone has their own story. You know, my dad's story is his story, Nick's story is his story, Phil's story is his story, your story, Jasper, is your story. Like, everyone's a rock star in their own right. That's why the world turns. That's why society's able to happen, because everyone has a natural gift at something. And we got the music bug, both very young, and we cared a lot, and we put in and continue to put in hours and hours and hours and hours. So, you know, people that put us in a box, that's on them. We can't give power to those people that are just going to hate on us no matter what, you know. Right. And there's just going to be people out there that just don't want to like it because of maybe thinking that, you know, oh, these guys, you know. But like, Nick and I are both hardworking people, and we earn what we get. You know, my pop doesn't make phone calls for me, man, and Phil doesn't make calls for Nick. Like, we earn our own stripes, and we earn our own relationships, and you know, it's a double-edged sword, man, because, you know, a lot of guys that come out of the gate, they're not compared to anything. You know, we are compared to something right off the bat. But it's up to the person, it's up to me or it's up to Nick to give that any validity, and we don't. We just continue to be ourselves. And what Nick says, this album's we're of course we're influenced, you know, by the reason why we play, you know, but Nick is his own person, I'm my own person. We have our own sound as individuals, but when we put it together and with Steve, like, that has become the band sound, and that's why there is a strong cohesiveness to the album as well. And man, I love Nick. It's like, yeah, we didn't choose who our parents were, but I'm proud of my dad's career. I know Nick's proud of his dad,
of course,
you know, and you pass the torch and you carry it, and you know, and when we eventually have kids, hopefully the same thing, man, if they want to do it, you know. But it's just what we love, man, and we just make music that we love.
You said very, very rightfully so, you know, Nick and I, we both work really hard. So let me use it as a segue for the promotion of this album, because obviously, well, first the singles album coming. We know we've got some shows coming up. With all the work that everybody is involved with, I can imagine that, you know, balancing calendars and schedules can be a little bit of a tricky thing. But what should we, as listeners, you know, keep our fingers crossed for, our eyes open for? Like 2024, when can we see you guys play on stages? How often? You know, what's possible? Because you all have so much on the go.
Well, funny enough, we had this conversation probably a few days ago, that things do come up where, you know, Steve in particular at the moment, you know, is booked up with Dad for a lot of the year, and we're putting together a situation that if Steve can't make a certain gig, that there's someone to come in and sonically fill that space, or we do some track stuff, you know, whatever. But, you know, the goal for us, because we're so proud of this record too, is, you know, we want to play as much, and we got to pick up every opportunity we can as a band, since we're coming up and we need to continue the buzz. And you know, Steve was completely understanding of that. So I mean, we're basically just taking each opportunity as they come and discussing as a band what the options are for those opportunities. But you know, we're going to be playing as much as possible, and we'll make it work as far as, you know, scheduling as that comes in, you know. But Nick, you could finish what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I mean that's pretty much that. I think we're gonna try and tour as much as we can, and hopefully it's with Steve. And if it's not, then we're gonna figure out a way to make it work. I think it was just having to figure that stuff out, A, amongst ourselves, and then B, like, how does it actually logistically look like? But yeah, I mean, hopefully we can be on the road quite a bit this year. We're starting off with the 2 shows opening for Steel Panther, which is going to be a good time. And yeah, I mean, I think, you know, end of last year was really just focused on finishing the record. Like, we had our first show at the Knitting Factory in LA, which was great. It, you know, was an awesome gig. And then after that, I was like, all right, let's finish this thing and you know, have it done by the new year, which kind of did, you know what I mean? Like, and obviously we mixed and mastered it now.
Yeah.
But it's all kind of finished, so now it's just time to go and play and do it, and, you know, just get more things done, you know.
It sounds like there will be a lot for us to look forward to. Some more singles, more videos, an album, and then live shows with or without Steve. I obviously, like everybody, will keep my fingers crossed that it's with Steve, because you know, in a song like Something Wrong, the interaction between Trev and Steve is one of the really fun elements, right? So I hope to see that explode live as well. Guys, thank you so much for your time today. I really do appreciate it. Nick, thanks for making it work. I know it was a hectic schedule.
Absolutely. Hey, no worries. That's totally on me. So thank you for being flexible and for having us, man. Yeah.
Thanks, anytime. Jasper, man. We really appreciate your support, man, and hanging out. I know this won't be the last time.
No. I look forward to catching up with you guys when we can talk in more detail about the full album that is going to come our way. In the meantime, we've got a couple of fun songs to keep us warm, and there we go. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, brother.
And I wish you the best with this continued waterfall release, let's call it.
Thanks very much.
All right, Brand. Talk to you soon.
There you go.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it and subscribe to the channel.